everyone, and welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday. It is July 22nd, 2021, and this is episode 188. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I'm coming to you from my home in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, which is just a little ways east of Vancouver. Hope you've all had a good week since we last spoke. It's been a good week here. The weather has been much more moderate and quite pleasant. I even had to put on a sweater for a short time yesterday afternoon because it was a little bit breezy and cool in the shade where I was. So I will take that over really, really hot any day. Unfortunately, it continues to be quite hot and dry and windy in the interior of British Columbia, which has been causing new fires to flare up, several of which are putting some residences in danger, and also it's been hard to control some of the fires that are already burning. So cross fingers for some cooler, wetter weather up ahead for the west part of North America. It is badly needed. And then, my goodness, the complete opposite happening over in Europe. And it's that imbalance that is so frightening, isn't it? I mean, we've been hearing about all these extreme weather events or potential extreme weather events because of climate change and global warming, etc. And it's kind of, well, to say the least, it's concerning to see some of those scenarios play out. So if you are over there in Europe, Western Europe, wish you all the best and hope that you are well and safe. So I have only been really mainly focused on one project this past week. But I do have a finished project to share with you, and two works in progress, both of which are new. So settle in and let's see if we can get through this pretty quickly because it's once again slightly later than I had planned. I ended up spending the last little while on the phone with my daughter-in-law, which means it is now well past lunchtime and I haven't even had lunch yet. So I'm going to try and get through this so that I can go have something to eat because I'm hungry. But I didn't want to stop for that too before I sat down to record. So let's get to it, shall we? I have a new pair of socks that's finished. These are for my brother-in-law Ed for his birthday, which isn't till November, so I have a jump on my gift knitting. This is the Arne and Carlos yarn from Regia. It is their Mountains and Fjords series. This is color 7028 and it has a name, but I can't pronounce it. So I'm not even going to try. Basic 72 stitch top down sock, 2x2 rib, traditional heel flap and gusset, rounded toe. Did I say it was on a 2mm needle? If I didn't, it is. And yeah, not a whole lot more to say about those. So yeah, glad to have those done because it meant I could cast on another pair. This time they are for me, and I've been anxiously awaiting knitting with this other Arne and Carlos Regia yarn. This time it's the Lofoten color series, and I started with color 3882, and that is Stamsund. I feel like that's approximately how it's said. I hope I'm not butchering it too badly. I would phone my brother-in-law, my Norwegian brother-in-law, and ask him, but I'm pretty sure he's out on the golf course right now, and I don't think he'd appreciate my interruption for that. Next time I see him, I'll ask him. So Isn't that pretty? This is one of my very favorites. Oh, that M means this is a medium size sock walker. Maybe I'll turn it this way. It looks, because it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, very, very pretty. It is, again, top down sock, 2x2 rib, 2mm needle. I have not yet decided what kind of heel I'm doing on this one. I might find a similar scrap yarn to do some heels with. I'll pick out one of these colors, but I'm not sure yet. So that remains to be seen. I'll decide when I get there. So I do have this one done to here, and then I'm once again knitting these concurrently on 2 separate needles, and so I've got that much done on this one. So these have mainly been knit like while I've been riding in the car or sitting around chatting or watching TV. I worked on them last night. We started watching the newest, whoops, I just dropped the yarn on the floor. We just started watching the newest season of Virgin River on Netflix. And so I worked on these yesterday in the car and last night watching that. So I have got quite a bit more done than I expected to, because as I said, my attention this week's been focused on one project, and that is the new pattern that I showed you last week, which is the Wild Bees Wrap by Helen Stewart. It's the third shawl in the Shawl Society 5. As I mentioned last week, fortunately, the way this printed up, it looks like it's like striped across like that, which it's not. I know there are pages that have some better looks at it. I should have lined those up before I sat down, and I didn't. It's quite a neat shawl. It has you construct a big square, and then you start working on 2 sides of the square and do stripes that go out that way. So it'll be a long rectangular wrap when it's done. Now in the sample pictures, it looks like it's just 2 colors, but if you look carefully, you can see that there are 2 shades of blue with this goldy color. So it's actually more striped than it looks. Last week I told you there were 2 groups of yarn that I was considering for this shawl. One was these 4 colors of hedgehog fibers, and as you might guess, this is not the one that won out. I worked up the beginning of the shawl in a couple of different combinations, and I decided to keep the last one just to show you. So it's not like it's terrible, but I just wasn't loving it. So I will save those yarns for a different shawl in the future. That gives you an idea of how it's constructed. You start with this little circular cast on, and then you work your way out at 4 points to make a big square. It's kind of like a granny square, only it's knit, and it features this 1x1 twisted rib in various parts too. And then what you can't really see very well is there's that Wild Bees lace pattern. So you will definitely see it much better in my second attempt. And I say second attempt, but this is really probably my 3rd or 4th, because I did cast this on initially in one color and worked it out as far as the first lace pattern thing, and a little bit further, and then I changed my mind as to which colors I wanted to be where, and this is my final iteration, at least I think it is. So before I show you the knitting, I'll show you the yarns. So I've got this skein of Sweet Georgia Yarns Tough Love Sock. That's in the Rose Day colorway. And then I had this skein of Like It in Lace 80/20 sock in the Daylily colorway, which just matched it so well. Just all the same colors, just a more intense version of it. So this is the Laken and Lace label. It's very pale. It's actually so pale, but I'm going to show you the back because that's all it really shows up is this, where it says Daylily. So then when I had bought this skein, alongside it, I had bought a Party of 5 set, which is a set of 25 gram mini skeins. This was the Spring Fling colorway. So it had these 3 shades plus 2 shades of kind of goldy colors. Oops, I'm trying to grab them out of my bag here. So they went that direction in the package, and I thought that was a nice order to use them in. So as you can see, I've made use of these two. And now I'll show you my shawl so you can get a sense of how they all look together. I'm just going to tuck all those yarns back in the bag. Probably could have put this on a longer needle, showing you maybe a little bit better, but I didn't really want to take the time to do that. So here we are so far. So there's what I ended up doing for the middle. So I started with the Daylily colorway, and then I've used this first gold for the first lace section. Now, and then that's the second part. The Helen Stewart on her patterns always does a percentage system, and I do not think that I have enough of this color to do the entire lace section. So what I decided to do is do the first row in this color, and then I'm doing the bee motif all in this color, and then if necessary I'll do the last row or two in this color because it'll all be stuck in that. But I felt like if I changed colors in the middle of the bee motif, it might be more distracting, where I thought I could get away with it better this way. If it turns out that I have enough of this color to do the whole panel and enough to do that first row, I'm probably going to rip it all back out and do it over, but I don't think so. Judging by the amount I have left, I just don't think I'm going to get there. So I thought that would be the most pleasing way to do that. And then my intention is to do the stripes along the side. I'll do the first set of lace stripes in the next colorway, and then the next one in that one, and the next in that. Now, something else I'm going to run into a little bit of a problem with is that because of the order that I chose to do the yarns in, if I keep going as the pattern says I should, I will run out of this color. So what I might end up doing is switching them out somewhere along the line, just so that I can use up all of this but be able to have enough of this. So it's I'm not going to end up following it exactly, I don't think. This color I started out as though it was color A, and this is color B, but really the quantities I have, it would have been better if I'd started out with this as color A and this as color B, which I did initially, but I liked the way this looked better. So that's why I went with it. So I have plenty of yarn to finish the shawl, and I will make it work with a combination of using more of this color if I have to, and also more of the minis. I can play with those and add color in. So I'm not worried about having enough yarn to finish. I just won't be following the exact color placement as in the original. But I think it's coming out nice. I like how the colors are going together. It's been really fun to work on. And I counted, I think I have 7 more rows in this stripe here. And then it will be a little bit more and then time to get to the point where you're working off either end of the shawl in the sort of the length of it. So fun. If you're knitting this shawl, I'm really bad about going to the Helen Stewart Ravelry group and either posting progress pictures or looking at other people's. But if you feel like it, show me your progress. Post it in the thread. I'd love to see the different combinations. I think it's a shawl that has a lot of possibilities for color play. And as normally, I don't do a whole lot of just straight wraps, but I think this one's a lot of fun to construct and a lot of fun to, like I say, to play with the color. I guess I didn't talk to my daughter-in-law too long because my tea's still hot. I literally was just going to record and then she called. So of course I had to talk to her and we talked about all sorts of things. All right, I have one acquisition. It came this morning. It is my third and final shipment from Fiber Nymph Dye Works Backyard Birdwatchers Club. And I was trying to guess what the third bird might be, and I was guessing maybe cardinal, but I was wrong. It is the purple finch. This is a finch that I know we get here in British Columbia, and I think we even get it kind of in the lower mainland, greater Vancouver area. It's not a bird I have personally seen, but I have had many house finches at my feeder, and it is a similar looking bird. I believe sometimes they can be hard to tell apart if you're not really familiar with them. But the house finches are more of a scarlet red, and this is more of a pinky red. So, want to see? I thought about saving it to open it live, but I couldn't wait that long. Isn't that pretty? So this is a 5-stripe colorway, and it is on the Mountain Tweed VFL base, and then there is a variegated mini with the same colors in it to match. So I think I'll just probably end up knitting them up the same way I have done my previous 2 club shipments, and just do a basic plain vanilla sock and use this for heels and toes. So very fun. I thought I would save this for the final portion of the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Nature Make-Along, because the final theme is air, and of course birds fly in the air. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait that long. So we shall see. We shall see. But I love it. Cannot wait to cast them on. It's such pretty, those colors are just so me. So yeah, they're going to be lovely when they're knit up. I am trying to decide whether I should go look in the spoiler thread or not to see if somebody has actually knit them up, or if I should just wait and then watch them unfold as I knit them myself. Haven't decided. Yeah, so that's it for yarn and knitting and all that. Not very much again this week. Not that I haven't been knitting, it's just my work's been kind of confined to, like I say, that shawl especially. So what's going on around here? Last weekend, as I told you, we were going to have our grandson come and stay overnight, and he had decided he was going to stay 2 nights. And in fact, when I talked to him on Friday, as I was making arrangements about when I was going to come to pick him up, he was even thinking maybe he wanted to stay 3 nights, which actually didn't work out for us, but you know, great enthusiasm. uh, and then as it turned out, he only stayed 1 night. Poor guy, I think there were several factors that went into sort of he had a bad dream in the middle of the night. He came upstairs and woke me up and was quite upset. And he was lying there and hearing all sorts of strange noises. And I think he um, was just quite nervous about somebody breaking in or something. And so I felt so bad for him. So he says, I don't want to stay tomorrow night too. And it's like, don't worry, you don't have to. But what he did do is basically stayed the whole day with us. Um, his our youngest son Colin came over and had lunch with us, and we played a local version of Monopoly, and then we watched a movie in the afternoon, and then he had supper with us, and then the rest of his family had gone out for dinner, and they stopped in to pick him up on their way home from dinner. So we had gone out for dinner with him the first night, and Cameron and him watched a movie on Friday night. They watched How to Train Your Dragon 1, and I had just watched that with our granddaughter last weekend. So then we watched the second movie of that series on Saturday. It's really, I can highly recommend it if you haven't watched them. And there's 2 others, and they're both available also on Netflix. So at some point when the kids are over here, maybe we'll watch the other 2 also. So yeah, that was great. Yesterday drove in about an hour, a little more than an hour away towards Vancouver. I had to go for my breathing test. So it didn't last very long. I wasn't really sure what to expect, and it's maybe 20 minutes or so. It took way longer to get there and get home than the actual test. And now I just have to wait and see what if anything it reveals, and if that will help get me any closer to some kind of diagnosis. And then I had told you last week that my one of my sisters and brothers-in-law had gone to get my mom, and as I was recording, I got the notification that she was here, that they had arrived back. And so some of us went over to that sister's house that night after supper for a little get together. It's the first time some of us have well, it's the first time we've all together gathered indoors and such, because we're all vaccinated now, and that was just so nice to be able to sit inside and hug and hug and hug. um, and yeah, so it was a sad that my mom has to leave. If you're new, my mom lives more in the interior of British Columbia, where we have a lot of wildfires burning, and basically surrounding where she lives are quite a few significant fires. And even though her own town is not in immediate danger and does not even have an evacuation alert in place, we were quite concerned about the potential of some highways being closed, and just the smoke too that's been in that area. And so we talked to her about coming about 3 hours south and staying with us. I have 3 sisters that live in the same town that I do, or same city, I guess. And we just felt like we would feel better if she was here, safe with us, and then we weren't worrying about her if she had to evacuate in with short notice. And so yeah, despite the reason for her being down here, it's she's making the rounds with various family members. So she stayed with one sister for a few days, went and stayed with another sister for a few. She's currently at my cousin's house. And then tomorrow night she is coming to stay with us, and she'll be here through Tuesday. And then Tuesday night she'll move on again. So tomorrow actually is our daughter's birthday, and she's having a get together at her place. So my mom will get to come to that. It's probably been a while since she has celebrated my daughter's birthday with her. And then the following evening, our new daughter-in-law's parents are going to come for dinner with our son and daughter-in-law. So my mom will get a chance to meet them, and we'll get a chance to spend some more time with them. Just seeing what else I've got written down here. Yep, that covers it. Next week is our anniversary on Wednesday, and so Cameron's going to take that day off, and we're going to do something special. Haven't decided what yet. We may, if he can swing getting Thursday off, we might go down to Vancouver and stay overnight there. But that's kind of still to be determined. And kind of on that same line is my something good. My something good for this week is sort of spontaneous, a spontaneous outing or a spontaneous date, if you will, which happened yesterday. So Cameron had taken yesterday off to drive me to my appointment. It was a place that neither of us are very familiar with, and I would felt better with him driving than me. Plus, I wasn't really sure what this test was going to really be like. So even though he couldn't be there with me, it was just a little bit of moral support. And so took much less time than I expected it to. And on our way to the appointment, we had passed signs for this wine route, which runs through the sort of central Fraser Valley. We've been to a few of the wineries before, but Cameron said on the way home, do you want to stop at this one in particular and maybe have lunch there, do some wine tasting? So as it turned out, we visited two different ones, and both of which we had been to before. So we stocked up on our Friday night Appy Night wine because that was running low. Got a few bottles from each winery, and as it turned out, the one we thought we might have a meal at, their restaurant closed at 3 o'clock. So we were too late for that, but we had some meat and cheese with our wine, and then we came back home, and then we walked down to one of our favorite restaurants, which is about probably just a little over a mile from our house. And it's the first time we've been there in at least a year and a half, if not more than that. And had dinner and then walked home. So yeah, it wasn't really planned, but it was a nice way to sort of spend the rest of the day and evening. And then, like I said, we started watching the last season of Virgin River last night. So lovely day off for him, and just a bonus day for me. It's nice having him home in the middle of the week, and just kind of a stolen day in a way. So next week, I think I will most likely record on Friday because Cameron's going to be working out of town again on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, that's my most likely recording date. Even if he does work Thursday, I think I'll probably put off recording until Friday. So I hope to have more of that shawl to show you then. Maybe by that point I'll be working on the two ends. And who knows, maybe I'll pick up some of my other projects too. Right now I'm super focused on that one though, so we'll see. All right, I am really hungry, so I'm gonna go have lunch. Thank you so much for watching as always. I owe a couple of you some return messages. I thank you as always for all your comments. I appreciate that. Um, I've not been as good about responding as I like to be. So if I owe you a note, it's on its way. um, and yeah, I think that's it. I will talk to you again most likely next week. So take care until then. Bye.